Hello and welcome to our Experience Management Centre demonstration for people who are working in the XMO. In other videos, I've given you a general overview. I've talked you through this CIO or the management view of how they use our EMC Centre. I've talked about how customers can use the EMC Centre. In this video, I'm going to focus on the XMO and tell you how the XMO can use our technology to help them manage experience easily. So if you're part of an XMO, then this video is for you. If you're thinking about using our EMC for part of your Experience Management Centre, your XMO team, then this is the video for you. So first of all, if you're an XMO member, you can see instantly that our EMC is built within ServiceNow. It's built natively within ServiceNow and it's downloadable via the ServiceNow App Store. When you're part of an XMO, you can start seeing all sorts of different dashboards and layers, and there's a back end and a front end. For this video, I'm going to remain in the front end. There is also a back end, which we will show you in later videos about how you can actually build XLAs, how you can use our library to download other XLAs for you instantly, so you can actually gain value very, very quickly by looking at other areas and saying, oh, I need an XLA around that area, use our library to download that. In this video, I'm going to show you how that data comes together for an XMO and how they use it. So you can see from an XMO view, they can start seeing different dashboards, same as the management view. If you looked at the previous video, they can see the overall score, they can see the sentiment scores, they can see the operational scores, they can see the technical scores. They can see all sorts of different graphs and drill into that data. They have an analytics center, which I'm going to take you through in a second. They also have an alert center too. So you can start instantly alerting. So if you think we've got a problem with maybe the operational team in a certain place, we can say the moment that sentiment or the XLA score falls below that, I want to be instantly alerted to. The moment that the salespeople's sentiment drops below 70, instantly alert me. So we can build alerts so that the XMO team get much more, we're not waiting till the end of the month to see the data, they get alerts immediately to start fixing issues as they arise. Now I'm going to take you through the Analytics Center. So from the Analytics Center, this is where all sorts of different dashboards that the XMO can use. I'm just going to show you a couple of them today just to show you how this works. If you want a fuller demo, then please contact us and we'll happily show you both the back end and the front end, how all this would work for you. So in this particular Analytics Center, I'm just looking at one XLA here. You could look at others, but I'm looking at the device XLA to enable our customers to have uninterrupted productivity in their role by providing them with fit-for-purpose laptops that are performance, stable, suitably sized, and easy to use. They can start seeing the trend of good enough and where the XLA score is, where good enough is, where the upper limits were, and they can start seeing all of that data come together since the XLA started. They can start seeing surveys and open surveys and completed surveys. They can start seeing what questions we asked in those surveys. I'm going to show you that in a different way in a second. They can drill into performance of that O data and T data and X data over the months and what was red, what was amber, what was green. They can start drilling into all the measures that we're taking from an O data perspective, from a T data perspective, and from an X data perspective, so they can see what measures make up this XLA. But what I'm going to take you into is this view, because this is the view that I think really becomes really powerful for an XMO team members to start looking at the performance of that XLA and everyone's experience around that particular ambition. So in here, what we can see is the last 6 months of the XLA performance. So we're seeing a cumulative impact of experience over 6 months. We see the same scores, we see the same ambitions, we see the same scores, X data, O data, T data. But here, what an XMO is able to do is drill into the data. So they can start drilling into, well, what was said in that X data? What surveys did we have in that X data? And they might start saying, okay, well, this is about devices. And the questions we asked was, how easy are your IT accessories to use? How often do IT failures disrupt your work process? Do you think you have the right laptop to do your job? And here what we can start seeing is data coming through, and they can start looking at how people have answered it and the average scores here, and we can start thinking, okay, I'll drill into some of this. So maybe I want to drill into one of these surveys. And we can see here, if I take you through into October, I think I've got perhaps more information. We've got demonstration data here, but you'll have hundreds of surveys, and you can start looking at the overall scores. The overall score for how often do IT failures disrupt your work process is a score of 60. How do people feel they've got the right laptops to do a job is a score of 40. More than that, they can start drilling into those. What did people say about those? So we can start looking at this data and say, well, Abel Tutor, who we happen to know is a salesperson, thinks that IT failures disrupt his work process daily. Ramon thinks his IT failures disrupt his work process weekly. So we're starting to surface what people are saying about IT and their devices. We could look at how do they think they've got the right laptop to do their job. Well, Abel Tutor strongly disagrees. Ramon totally disagrees. We could say, well, what else do you think? Let us know what else is going wrong. And this is the open question you might want to ask. And Able Tutor says, well, my laptop's hard to work with. And Ramon says, my laptop's freezing a lot. And other people saying connecting devices is very difficult. So you can see we've gone from a high-level view of the overall scores directly now into what people are saying, into the detail of what people have said about that particular ambition. Now, if I drill back into this, that's the X data. Now they've understood how and what people feel about it. Let's go and see if we can find some insights into why they might feel the way they do. So let's, as an XMO, they start looking at the O data. Now, of course, the O data was overall green. So you'd expect most of this to be green. And it is, of course. You can start looking down it, and most of it is green. But not everything is green. So we can start saying, oh, actually, we do have some problems. We can see that percentage of incidents related to digital workspace fixed at the first engagement is pretty low. We can see that all software calls on those devices are not being resolved in 5 business days. And we can start seeing where we might have some operational problems. And more than that, now we're starting to get insights into where things may have gone wrong. But more than that, in this EMC applications, what we're able to do is start drilling into that. Because the O data is sitting in the ServiceNow environment that we've got our application in, we can start looking at that O data. And these are the tickets people have been logging about their devices. And more than that, we can actually open up a couple of the tickets and start seeing what people are saying about it. And lo and behold, here's our Able again. Able was the person who told us that he thinks his device disrupts his work process. He thinks his device is difficult to use. And we can now see directly the ticket that Able has logged at the service desk about his device. And what he's saying is the laptop's crashing, and Able's laptops keep crashing when he's trying to use Salesforce remotely. So now we're getting real insights into not just what people feel, but why they feel the way they do. So we now know we've got some problems. The team don't like their laptops. We can see why they don't like their laptops, because they keep crashing. So we'd come out of this now and start thinking, okay, why is it that laptops keep crashing? Let's see if we can get to the root cause of that. And here, what we would now do is go into the technical data. Does that give us any further insights into this story that we're telling you? Now, of course, the overall technical detail is green. So we'd expect most of this to be green, and lo and behold, it is green. But again, we do have some issues. So we can see here we've got some devices with freezes. We've got some devices with crashes. Looks like the login times are okay. Some battery health, not great, but okay. Battery charge issues. We start seeing we've got some issues technically. So we can start drilling into those, and we can start saying, okay, let's take one of these and drill right into that detail. And here is the data we're collecting, and we can say, well, okay, well, these devices, okay, the freezes, maybe it's okay, but we've definitely got some web errors, and maybe that's a reason why people can't connect to Salesforce remotely. Maybe if we could fix those web errors, that wouldn't happen. That would bring their sentiment up, which would bring the overall XLA score up. But whilst we're here, let's look at some other issues. We can see that some people have got free space issues. So now maybe we want to use our DEX tool to go out there and say, let's fix that. Let's remove some temp files and let's solve that problem. We can see that some people have some battery health issues. Now, for a lot of people, that may not matter because they're plugged in all day. For salespeople, and Able was a salesperson, remember, that is probably a big issue because Able's traveling around and probably needs a strong battery. And if we look at this line here, battery full charge issue as well, and we can start looking at that for different personas too. So now what we're doing is we've gone from a very high level graphical view of all the data coming together so you can see someone's experience directly into not just what people are feeling into the surveys, but directly into their tickets to see what they've been logging, and then directly into the technical data to say what's causing them to log those tickets. So now we've got a really interesting view. We now can see across this whole setup, not just what people have been feeling, but why they're feeling that way as well, which means as an XMO, we can now work with the rest of our ecosystem to start fixing these issues to bring experience up. Now, I hope that gives you a great insight into how an XMO might use our EMC technology. If you've got more questions, or you want to see back-end views, or you want to see us do something else, please let us know. If not, I look forward to seeing you in another video later on.